Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a bronze Hammond. This is pretty high bronze, like 1400 if memory serves, but it is bronze. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you're looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all that good stuff.
Round one.
Glip Glop. That's a name. Okay, so we're speeding out there. Okay, so I don't necessarily want to be here to start. You can be here to start if you think your team is going to be fast. Like, if you were thinking, hey, my team is going to be very fast behind me, they are fast heroes. They have a Lucio, something like that. You could go this way, anchor up here, and potentially be ready to knock the other team out to not let them in, so your team can set up around the choke with the control here, etc., and be hard to push into. That would be an advantage. Most of the time, though, that's too complicated, and what you want to do on ball is you want to accept that I don't want to engage the other team from the front. I want to be ready to engage them from the side. I want to be ready to engage them from behind. So instead of us going down the front, we want to basically immediately go, as soon as I get my epic pen out here. I'm sorry, guys, I was slow on my setup. There we go. As soon as we get where we are here, we want to start thinking about going this way, have gone this way in the first place, whatever, to set up so that we can hit them from the side, loop around and hit them from behind. Because we have lots of time before our team is ready to take this fight. And we want to fight at the same time as our team from a different direction than our team. Right now, we're way ahead of our team, so our timing is off, and our direction is wrong because we're between our team and their team. So let's change it so that we're not. Let's change it so that we're not. Let's change it so that we're not. And we have, as ball, lots of time to go set that up because we're so far ahead of our team. Thank you, Royal Rain. You're joining the troll brigade there. Legiz RC would have had his pen ready before streaming. What are you talking about? My pen's ready. It's right here. It was ready the whole time. Okay. Are we hitting some buffering here? No, it looks like we're good. Okay. So, this is not what we want to do. You're here and you're like, aha, I'm knocking back the Winston. I don't care to knock back the Winston. Knocking back the Winston isn't even interesting to me. Like, I might knock back the Winston if my whole team was in and ready, maybe, but I'm not even interested. I can roll out to the side over here and just shoot at the Winston. Take advantage of the range difference that these two heroes have and be like, pow, 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 from over here, and look, he just used leap, so that doesn't do anything, and he's stuck. And he has to spend his bubble, or he spends a bunch of health, or he leaves. All of those are good with you. Absolutely not. You're pile driving in. You're giving these guys, like, an eternity to be like, look, what's that? In the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a Hammond pile driving from really, really high. Let's back away. Let's hit it with a sleep dart. Let's prepare to hit it with a bash, whatever. And even with that super sky high pile drive, your team is all the way back here. Your team is not engaging at the same time as you. I don't want the engage. It's that simple. I don't want the engage. And you're using a big cooldown here. You're using your pile drive. That's a 10-second cooldown. Team's not ready. Not an engage. We engage from a different direction of than our team, and we engage when our team can also engage. We came from the same direction as our team, above, maybe a little different at this point, and we're way, way early. So that's all. That's all. We just don't do it. And we used our adaptive shield too. So now our team is just about here. We see our Winston's moved in. He's committed his barrier. Your supports are supporting. Your DPS are maybe a little late. Looks like Ashe is thinking about contributing. So like now the fight is sort of starting. But your pile drive is on cooldown and your adaptive shield is on cooldown. Like you engaged 5 seconds too early. 5 seconds. That's an eternity. Because you'll notice you engaged 5 seconds too early, and you were in for like a second. So if the strongest portion of your engage is that second, you want your team to be able to take full advantage of that second. Hey, Blah. Okay. Hey, Sheldon. So this is a better engage. Now you're doing just, the ball roll around point thing, but it's still a better engage. Yeah, fight from the outside. It ain't Sunday night without a temporal stream. Okay. So you do want to be careful about that. Not a big deal. But you do have to make sure to stay ball long enough for your reload to finish. You do have to stay ball long enough for your reload to finish. Because now your reload is effectively reset. You have to actually press the reload button and reload your ammo. Or you could have just stayed ball and for like another fourth of a second and your reload would have finished there. So do notice when your reload finishes when you're in ball form there. It does matter as you're discovering here. Oh boy. That's actually nice. Oh, you didn't realize what you did. This could have been really nice. So you're in this bad situation. You don't have ammo. You don't have your grapple either. And you actually take quite nice advantage of this and just sort of hop up off of the opponent. And if you'd realized you'd done this, you could have hit pile drive and you could have gotten some value. You could have actually gotten some value here even without your tether. So that would have been really cool. Now, you probably didn't mean to do it, and it's not a big deal. I'm not worried about it. But this exists. This could have been cool. And now you can just go back to shooting. Your ammo, your reload completed. You have adaptive shield going. You can use tether if you want and roll through these guys for some damage again, but you can actually just spend some of your clip. You're in here with adaptive shield. You've got a couple hundred extra shield there that doesn't feed ult charge. Let's shoot. I'd have preferred to shoot maybe from like over here as opposed to over here. This is sort of too much in the same direction as your Ash. And remember, we talked about direction earlier. We don't really want to be in the same direction as our team or the same direction of our Ash. We're sort of the same direction as our Junkrat and Mercy. We would have preferred to be over here in a different direction, but that's okay. Spin to win it is. Works for me. And then you leave. Okay, so you can go get this health back if you want, but you're really not missing much. And you have to decide, can you think around aggression? Is your team ready to go in? Could your team go in? Well, it looks like your team could go in. There's one bad sign, which is that Winston's bubble is down here, which means either Winston is already in which case we're late, or Winston is out, but isn't going to be able to get serious again for quite a while. That said, you got an elimination. The rest of your team is here. Their health looks okay. You probably want to go in right now. Sure. It's a less good roll. You don't really have any targets to hit or walking into it. Now you do. Okay, so this is happening, and you unballed here, and you did your damage, and I can live with that. You're about to run out of ammo. And let's think about this from a macro perspective. Where do you want to be? If you're ball fighting the other team, where do you want to be? Well, we want to be fighting the other team at the same time as our team from a different direction than our team. And we're about to have to go ball form again because we're just about out of ammo. So what are we going to do when we're in ball form and super fast? Well, if we think about our team is all right here. Okay, cool. And the enemy team is here. Okay, so what's our solution? Well, our solution is, hey, let's just roll over here and shoot from this side. Let's roll over here and shoot from here. That's all. That's all. If we want to instead roll over here and maybe shoot from here, that's okay. Not as strong, but that's okay. We could drop, shoot from here, whatever. All those things are going to be good. So I hope that's what we're going to do. No, we don't. We don't want to do this. You see this? This is going from the same direction as your team and being like, yes, I'm going to just jam it down mid. That's not really your strength as Hammond, just shoving it down mid like this. This is not what we want to do. We like the angle. We like the angle. We don't actually want to engage in such a way where it's like, yes, I'm just going in front of my team. We're really going to be stronger if we can come in from the side, come in from the other side, come in from behind them, that sort of thing. And the reason for that is that damage that was sort of directed at your team, spam that wasn't even meant for you, that was meant for your team, is accidentally going to hit you, like this Moira coalescence. Or they're going to start shooting at you, and when they miss, instead of it going off, down the mountain there, going on a ski trip, going wee, etc., it's going to sometimes accidentally hit your teammates. So we don't like that. That's one of the advantages that coming from a different direction gets us. And leave. And go get your mega. You're more than fine. You want to go right back into this fight. Like, you got your mega and you want to roll right back into this fight and shoot again from the side. You have plenty of resource now. Plenty of resource. You've got an extra 100 HP. You've got ammo.
Full speed.
I mean, again, this is sort of okay. This is sort of an off angle from your team, but you would have been even stronger from here. And your ball, you're super fast. It would have taken you like no time to come from this direction. And if you come from this direction, you can shoot them in the back, or you can roll through them and still end up over here, which is still a different direction than your team. You got options.
System initialized.
You needed a
Okay, that
doctor?
works.
Group up.
I'm feeling angry.
Okay, so here we are. And we got to think again about direction and timing. So we look at this, and our direction looks okay. Like, hey, our team is coming down this way, and we're ready to go in from this direction. But now timing becomes a question. And unfortunately, Winston has forced your timing. Winston has engaged early, so you're probably going to engage with him. Your supports don't really look ready for this engagement, and you can just look through walls to see that. You can see your teammates through walls. You can't see opponents through walls like we can right now. But in-game, you can turn and see your teammates through walls. So that's good. That's what we want to go with. We're going to do that. We do not want to just go, oh, hey, let's just engage whatever. But since Winston is using an ult and committing, yeah, we'll commit with him, even though it's not great. You go for some really high pile drives. Like, in these really high pile drives, give the team more time to react. Well, I don't love that. If someone in chat wants to let me know how the stream quality is, that would help. On my end, it looks okay from most of my metrics, but then I see something that leads me to believe that maybe it isn't. So if something's bad, do let me know, guys. So here we are, and you did your roll through, and now your Winston's eliminated. So what are you doing going back in? 1080, 60 FPS looks great. Perfect. Thanks, Sheldon. So again, your team is sort of here. Your Winston is eliminated. I don't really want to go back in yet. And you might feel like, no, I have to. We're about to lose. We're about to lose. But you're not actually about to lose. Your Winston fed and went in early. Don't get me wrong. It's good. Okay. Thank you, Potato. Good to know that Potato. Good to know that my stream is not potato quality right now. So you might be thinking, oh, we have to go in, but this can go all the way up to 99, and you can play overtime basically forever if you have to. So it would actually be better, rather than going in right now, to wait until your Winston is at least part of the way back. You maybe won't be able to wait until he's actually ready to jump in, but the closer he is to back, the less time you will have to 5v6 before he joins, and you have a 6v6, and you're much more likely to win a 6v6 than a 5v6. So that's what we want to go with there. Hey, Thales. We don't really want to go in yet, even though it maybe sort of looks like our team is here, because they're not actually ready. We're waiting on Winston. We are waiting on Winston. Moira's super far away. We'd sort of like her to actually even get a little closer so that she can be in the fight too. But that's okay. That's okay. This is good. Directionally, you engage from this side. Sure, we'll take it. Not really sure we needed the adapter shield.
Shooting up.
It's a little weird to lay the minefield there and then just like completely ignore your minefield to come fight the Winston, but okay. You actually like to play around your minefield. Like your spin to win would be relatively powerful right now. You probably wouldn't knock anyone into the mines, but the threat of the mines with your spin to win would actually be annoying to this team. Like they'd have to panic and go in certain directions, and it would very much control their movement. But okay. There we go. And then through the crate? Yeah. Okay. Ball form. Really high pile drive again. And what I mean by that is you can look at this. And like, I guess I can wait for this. I guess I can go for this, but you can just change your trajectory in the first place so you're not quite this high. Like, look at how high. You're pile driving from all the way up here. I want you pile driving from, like, here, to be perfectly honest. And that just means changing where you put your initial point, your initial anchor point on the tether. But that's okay. We don't really need to break the Winston shield. Oh, and then we didn't touch point. Yeah, that's not great. Okay.
Ready for battle.
So only seen one round so far, but if we can get our direction and timing right, we're gonna do okay. We obviously have some high pile drives. We're maybe not getting some of the reloads off that we like. We're maybe wandering away when we have shield and we should still be fighting. But the big thing is gonna be direction and timing.
Round 2. Capture the objective.
Okay. I probably don't want to brawl in this. I'm okay with this. We look at this, and we again have to think about, well, what's our direction and timing? Well, maybe our soldier wasn't ready. Supports look pretty ready. This looks happened. This looks like reasonable engagement timing. You're in while your team is fighting. I'm probably okay doing this and sort of working our way back from here, but not a big deal. Like, we're here, and I don't actually need to stay this close to the target, because I don't actually expect to finish anyone off. Little secret, I don't actually expect to eliminate anyone here. I might force Moira's fade, which would be good. I'm going to put some damage pressure on them. I'm going to force some resource out of Moira. Maybe I'll get amp out of Lucio, some DM out of Diva, but I don't expect you to get any eliminations here. And with that in mind, you can already be working your way back, so that once your shields get chunked, or once you run out of ammo, you can maybe roll away, maybe get the health back, and then come in and do a roll through and slam type technique. Good? Sure. You didn't really have to ball and roll away yet. You still had 30 ammo and shields left, but okay. Yeah, again, I don't need to go as high as you're interested in going. Like, we can change these tether points. So, like, that is you want to have it, if you're tethered there, you very much want it to pendulum swing you up into the air. And I don't need to pendulum swing that heavy that early into the air. I'm kind of interested in a lower tether point that lets me sort of shoot through this a little more. I sort of want to potentially knock people back, and then I'll have a little high ground and they got knocked back and I can slam type thing. But okay. Sure. I don't really want to be brawling. There you go. Fun. Don't join Mercy. Play from the other direction. Your retreat direction, if your team is over here, is generally going to be in this direction. You don't want to retreat towards your team. If you retreat towards your team, it makes it so that you're sort of accidentally going to be more likely to engage from the direction of your team for any sort of re-engages, which we don't like. You don't need to go back to your team. You don't need to get healed by your team. Your heals as ball come from playing around health packs and such.
Speed maximum.
I hate the spawn grapple nerf so much. Worst feeling ever. Yeah, on the other hand, it is such a nice feeling to not have to worry about a adaptive shield getting interrupted by a flashbang, a bash, something like that, because it's not like it was some skillful timing out play. It was mostly just, well, of course they're going to try to stun here, and of course I'm going to try to adaptive shield here, and whoops, they got lucky this time, and they canceled my shield, and I don't get one. Like, I get it. It feels really bad for that, but the adaptive shield change feels pretty good. So even worse when you pick Ball to stall only to do the roll of shame because you forgot about the nerf. I mean, he's still a good stall hero. Again, these high swings. This is not as big a deal as direction and timing, but that is a higher swing than you need it to be. By grappling up there, look how high you end up for this. Was you could have been like, no, instead of tethering up there, I'm just going to tether a little lower right here. And you still would have gone into the air. Everything still would have worked the same effectively, except your point would have been like down here. So you'd get a lower to the ground pile drive, which isn't a big deal, except that there's more time for them to react to, run away from, prepare countermeasures for this pile drive. There's more time that you're hanging in the air. We don't really like that. You don't do more damage with pile drive when you come from higher. That might be cool, but it's not like Doomfist Slam. Your damage calculator on pile drive is how close the opponents are to where you hit, not how high you hit from. Okay. Again, so high. So high. But also, not only is it so high, like, it's true your team isn't engaging from this direction, but is your team really in this fight? Like, I see it. Yes, I see that your Doomfist and Lucio are thinking about going in, but that's just it. Your Doomfist and your Lucio are thinking of going in. If your Mercy joins, the soonest she can be here is about 2.5 seconds from now. Your Soldier is a good 8 seconds out, maybe a little less, and your Reinhardt is minimum 15 seconds out versus, well, let's count the reds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you go in right now, the 3 of you are not going to beat the 6 of them. And it might feel bad, like, no, I have to because Doomfist is going in. I'd rather wait. Even if Doomfist is just going to keep feeding whatever, I'd rather than take a bunch of 3v6s and 2v6s and 4v6s, try to find the couple 6v6s that I can get if the opponents already have control. Even if I just have to not enter, not start fights until my team is ready. But then the instant my team is ready, I want to pull the trigger and start the fight before someone is able to get themselves eliminated. So just don't go in right now. Just don't.
Denied.
See, you didn't even start the fight right now. Doomfist could have left, or Doomfist didn't even start the fight. You're not reacting to him going and forcing you to go, which isn't really a thing anyways. He got jumped on. He can easily just leave. He's got support help going on, but you're like, no, I want to do this. And it's better than it could have been because Lucio dumped Reaper into the pit, and that does help, but we're still not quite ready yet. We could still wait. We could take a 6v6. Your 2 supports are going to keep Doomfist alive just fine while Winston jumps on them. They're going to peel themselves back into here, we hope. And then your Reinhardt and Soldier are going to catch up. And then you're going to go in for a 6v5. Preferably you'll have used this time to come around. And you'll go in for a 6v5 from 3 different directions. And you'll just crush them. And Reaper will only be, 4 or 5 seconds late. But like, hey, that's what we want to do. That's the play. Instead, you're making this fight real. This Winston jumping on someone who's pocketed by 2 supports? That's not real. And just to show you how not real it is, hey look, no one's really in trouble here. Everyone's just fine. You guys are fine. If anyone would be in trouble, it's because Mercy's come over to help you. Fortunately, it's not. I don't want you playing on this side. You see how you retreated towards your half of the point? I don't want that. I want you to use that tether and get yourself up over here and be shooting from here. Be shooting from here. Get yourself up over here and be shooting from here. You want to retreat through the opponents if that's what you have to do, but get yourself to a different angle than your team even for your retreats. It's okay to go get health packs.
Tactical visor activated.
This is a better engage. Your pile drives are still super high and you didn't have pile drives, but directionally speaking, that was better. I don't really want you on point. I don't really want you on point. You can roll through point with people in here. You can sort of be shooting from on point from a different direction than your team, but I don't want you just hanging out in here. Right idea. Right idea is not because it was a good engage. This is a terrible engage. Like, if you think this is a real fight, it's terrible. The reason that this is okay is because you're trying to interrupt the mercy res and get out, and that's perfectly fine. If this is a real engage, it's tragedy because, whoops, you've engaged into a place where you're not going to get any team support into this, like, 5v1 scenario, which is not what we want. But you should just leave immediately. Not fight the Reaper. Leave. Leave. Just continue rolling, put yourself like over here, and crossfire in. Or just roll over here and sort of be ready, and then when they sort of come across to try to join Reaper, slingshot yourself back to remove them from the fight and then escape. That's what we're looking to do, so that it's just Reaper in the fight and your team can handle him in a 4v1 type thing.
I am ready to activate
You
the
retreated
sound
through your
barrier.
team. And now you're engaging from the direction of your team. We don't like this. Yeah, when people are too close to you, you can't get speed. It's annoying. At this level, you don't really have to worry about people intentionally doing that to you, fortunately. Okay. Put some pressure on her. That's fine. Keep the pressure on. You're going to leave. Fine. Probably get the Mega. This is a different direction than your team. I'm okay with... Okay. That one sucks a little. That one sucks a little. So, like, we look at this. And I'm okay with the sense that it's a different direction than your team, but you have to ask, is this engage real anymore? So we want you to be engaging when your team is engaging and from a different direction than your team. And you've now established a different direction, but is your team still fighting this anymore? No, they're trying to leave. We're not really interested in this anymore. Now, we could be like, hey, I'm going to be a little bit of a distraction, just an absolute minor distraction to help my team get out. That could be a thing, but I need to then get out alive myself if that's the case. Like, let me just do a keep my tether locked on here type thing, do a roll out, don't let go of my tether so that I can't fall off, and then pull back a little and let go of my tether and roll out up here just to have sort of relieved a little pressure, to have turned some opponents around so they're not chasing my team down trying to stagger them. That could have been okay. Yeah, so you didn't want to let go of that tether. Bye, ball! What is the difference between Ball's line of thought and Tracers regarding attacking from angles at the right time, if there are any? Sure. So your difference is Tracer would like to start in what I sometimes call second gear, where Tracer would like her initial engage to have a more real elimination potential than Hammond does. So it's going to be hard if Tracer goes in first for Tracer to eliminate someone. She might just be able to instantly one-clip someone and it's great, but it's going to be really hard to one-clip the Zen if Diva's sitting right here, if Briggs is sitting right here, if Reinhardt is sitting right here. Like, it's going to be hard if all these guys are just sort of bored for Tracer to come in even from an angle and eliminate Zen. On the other hand, if Hammond went in first and went, aha, I'm going to do things. Well, now Brig is thinking about, oh, let me line up my stun for this Hammond. Diva's thinking about, do I need to DM over someone that gets pile drive by Hammond to make sure he doesn't finish them in the air? Reinhardt is thinking, okay, I'm not going to turn for the Hammond because it's a trap, but do I need to make sure I get knocked up or don't knocked up to block up a follow-up shot from an Ashe or something like that? So like now they're all thinking about something, and now Tracer is going, hey, my Hammond went just an instant before I did, so my Hammond is going in at the same time as me, but just an instant before, so airing in front. So now I can come in and I've got a better chance of one clipping this Zen. That's sort of how it's thinking. Like you want it to be a 1-2 punch, but you want it to be a 1-2 punch as close together as possible in a lot of ways, with the Hammond being slightly first. If the Tracer is slightly first, the Tracer is going to get more of the answers put on her, and Tracer's going to do a better job of 100 to 0ing someone or finishing someone off after Peel is in place than the Hammond is. So we'd actually sort of prefer that the Peel, the solutions, get put on dealing with Hammond rather than Tracer. Does that make sense? Those are the characters I play the most of. Is it right to have the same mindset for both? It's very similar, but you'd actually like Hammond to start the engage. You'd like Tracer to be as close behind it as possible, basically, but you want Hammond to be the one that starts it if you can. And one of the reasons for that is if Hammond eats a bash, no big deal. If Hammond eats a flash, no big deal. Hammond can potentially eat some of this CC. Hammond's a tank. He has a little more durability. That doesn't mean it's his job to intentionally take damage, but like he can survive that initial burst, whereas Tracer can sort of survive it too by using blinks, but Tracer would much rather be like, hey, you deal with that. I'll use my higher damage to actually eliminate this target while all this peel is focused on you. Oh god, I see a thing I do really wrong with Tracer. Tracer should prioritize going into a started fight as opposed to starting one, which Hammond is not interested in. Prioritize other stuff. Hammond can go into a started fight. Like if his Winston Primal's in, for example, as happened earlier, yeah, he'll go join the fight that started. And Hammond will also rejoin fights. Like Hammond might be responsible for that initial starting of the fight, but then Hammond, being a cooldown-based hero, is sort of a common recipe for Hammond would be, let's say that the enemy team is just a blue square here or a red square here. Hammond does his team over here, and Hammond comes in over here. Well, Hammond is going to use his cooldowns. Maybe he's going to go tether into a pile drive with the adaptive shield, spend some ammo, and now he's kind of stuck. It's kind of time to leave. He doesn't have a new adaptive shield. He doesn't have a new pile drive. He needs to reload. So he just runs away over here, and now he's out for a couple seconds. Maybe he rolls through a health pack to pick it up, and now he's back, and he's got tether and pile drive again. No adaptive shield, but he did recover health with health packs, and now he's ready to engage again type thing. Like, that's a thing that could happen, but this fight is still going on, because the fight was still happening. This fight didn't end just because he left after spending his cooldowns and ammo. You see what I'm saying? Like, he might whip out to go get a health pack while he's waiting on cooldowns, and then he comes, because, you know, he has to wait on either cooldowns or his reload, and if he's going to wait on those things, he might as well go get a health pack. He might as well go break the attention on him and then come back sort of thing, and that's what he's looking for. So he can go back in, and in this case, he's sort of going, yeah, I would like to get an elimination. If I can do that, that would be great. If I can do a, boop and scoop, knock them through with the roll, then send them up a little, pile drive myself down, finish them up, then go into hamster mode and chain gun them, shoot them down as they're falling. Like, yeah, he'd love to do that, and he's in some ways more likely to be successful on this secondary engage because more of the peel has come out. People's attention is now going to be a little more on his team, etc. But he can do the sort of engage, and this is similar to a Tracer engage. He's engaging when the fight is already going on, but his initial engage was more to start the fight. And again, if someone else started the fight, maybe he has a Reinhardt that's pushing in and he's going in, he could let the Reinhardt engage and then go for more of this type of play, or a Primaling Winston jumps in. That's all fine with him. It's not like he can't do it, but he's built in such a way that he can afford to start the fight, and from a team distribution of responsibilities thing, that tends to work much better than Tracer starting the fight, as an example, than Diva starting the fight, as an example. Hope that made sense.
Overtime.
Die, die, die. Clear
such a high pile drive. Okay, this is overtime. I'm not worried about it. Okay, so that's going to be the end of the game. And no problem, it's a bronze Hammond, so we really knew immediately going into it what you were going to need. Well, two of the things that you were going to need. You actually got a third one that surprised me, but that's okay. Your most important things to get right as Hammond are going to be timing your engages correctly. So you engage when your team wants to engage. You go in when your team wants to engage. You don't go in when you've got Reinhardt and Soldier back in spawn. You don't go in when Winston just got himself eliminated and the cap is at 80% and you've actually got time. You don't go in when your team is still running there because your team is like, hey, we haven't even made it to point to it yet because you're so much faster than us. You go in when your other 5 team members, preferably, can also go into the fight. They can be within the fight within a second. They have sight lines or they're right there, or maybe they're even already brawling, but you go in when your other team can go in or is already in. That's what you want to do as Hammond. Now, it can get more complicated than that for you higher level players. You may think I'm oversimplifying it. It can absolutely get higher level than that, where you go in, and we talked about this a little bit, to maybe help your team retreat. You can go in to allow your team to rotate past a difficult position that they would be getting engaged on. There's other things that you can do. You can pick on someone. Maybe they've set a Zen on an off angle all by himself and you see it and you go, I'm just going to go delete that real quick. There's absolutely things that you can do, but the primary piece for understanding your Hammond is for these team fights, engaging when your team is ready to engage. The second piece is going to be engage from a different direction than your team. If your team is coming in from this way, great. You can come in from here. You can come in from here. You can come in from here. And to accomplish this and reliably accomplish this, even on accident, when you've gone in for what we called your primary engage, maybe you came in with your primary engage here, you should exit out through here or exit out through here. Don't exit out towards your team. You don't need to exit out towards your team to get healed. You heal with health packs. That's just a cost of running Hammond. And then it's easier to come back in from this direction or this direction. So just make it a habit to not exit fights towards your team, to instead exit fights to the side of or behind the other team. And then your re-entries for your secondary engages will be from good directions, just by accident. So that's the second thing. And the third thing I'm going to want you to work on, and this is way less important than the other two things, is I want you to just put your tethers a little lower on walls and things so that your pile drives are more from like here rather than from up here. You're just giving them too much reaction time. But that is way less important than the other two things. So get those first two things down right. Work on those things one at a time with like 5 to 15% of your brain power. And understand getting engagement timing just right is a skill that you are going to be iterating on infinitely. You're just going to have to get better and better at that to climb the ladder as tank. That is the essential skill for main tank players. So you're going to iterate on that constantly, but we need to level that up. We need to really focus on that with like 5 to 15% of your game brain power while playing the game, maybe for 5 matches, maybe for 30 matches, maybe for 50 matches, whatever it takes to really sort of see improvement there. And if you're not seeing improvement or if that doesn't make sense, you can of course ask questions. You can ask questions in chat now. You can join my Discord, ask questions in there, all that good stuff. Like you can ask questions, but you gotta improve on that specifically. And we gotta be seeing the improvement while we're focusing on it. And then once that improvement starts to click and starts to sort of lock in and become part of your autopilot, then you can move on to this next thing, which is going to be the direction of your engages. And then you do the same thing. You really focus on that. You're thinking about it while you're playing. You may be stopping and going, wait, was I actually thinking about engagement time during that last game? Oh, shoot, I wasn't. Let me get my brain back on that. Okay, wait, was I actually doing engagement timing? Like, I know engagement timing is my focus, but was I actually doing anything about it? Was I actually looking around at where my team was before I went in? Oh, I was. Okay, we're potentially good. And then maybe after you've played 3 or 4 games, you stop and you look at one of your games. And maybe you watch the whole game in replay. Maybe you just jump through to the beginning of team fights to see specifically when you engaged. And you go, oh, I see, I didn't do this this very well. Let me do it better. And we just work on that, level it up as best we can there. And then once that's, again, we're actually making improvements there, that's stuck, we've actually seen improvements there, then we move on to the direction thing. And we do that the same way. And then once we've got that, we can work on bringing our tethers down a little bit and thinking a little bit more about how do I tether so that my pile drives aren't coming in from quite so high, giving the opponents quite so much time to react, giving me quite so much hang time where I can just be shot, chipped down in the air, all that good stuff. Okay. That's going to do it for this guy. If you guys have questions, go ahead and throw them up in chat now. If you're enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate that. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, special events we have going on, all of that good stuff. Hi. Hey, Nardstorm. Temporal, how optimistic or pessimistic are you feeling about the future of Overwatch 2? Probably not as pessimistic as some. I'd say overall pessimistic, but that's not a new thing for me. I would say people have gotten very pessimistic recently surrounding Blizzard news and certain California going after them legally stuff and them making superficial, not real changes. I'd say the Blizzard news has made people sour more on Overwatch 2 than they were before, or the potential of Overwatch 2 than they were before. And you kind of got to remember that while there may be some level of, hey, there's this thing lurking over them at the office that they're sort of aware of, I'm not actually in their offices. We're not actually in their offices. That's probably not actually impacting the dev team all that seriously. Now, it's impacting other teams. Executives are having to worry about, okay, what are we doing for legal stuff? How are we handling this? HR teams are having to figure out what they're having to do. But the teams that actually work on Overwatch and such probably isn't actually impacting them that much. So it probably hasn't actually moved the course of the game that much worse, that much better, that sort of thing. So I wouldn't actually look at this and go, oh, these things that have happened have brought my opinion of what Overwatch 2 is going to be down. And I think that's happening. I think it's hard for people to really separate these things in their minds and not conflate that. That said, I have concerns about Overwatch 2 in general. I think Overwatch 2 could absolutely knock it out of the park because they've done some things where, hey, they've realized, let's put some more focus on a PvE thing. Blizzard has been good at PvE, Warcraft 3 campaigns, StarCraft campaigns. Like, they have a history in terms of, hey, people like their games. And let's be honest, most of people's good memories of StarCraft, most Blizzard gamers' good memories of StarCraft, for example, are not from, oh, they went and got on the ladder and they went 63-6 this season and blah, blah, blah. That's not how most people remember StarCraft. Most people remember StarCraft either by playing the campaigns or by doing the custom games online. Competitive Overwatch is more like hopping on the ladder. It's a much cleaner experience in some ways than hopping on the ladder in like StarCraft was. But like, this isn't where the good memories that people have for a company like Blizzard and remembering enjoying their games comes from. It comes from more campaign stuff, more PvE stuff, more wild, wacky, custom game type things. Just using this as an example. So, okay, with that in mind, let's look at this and go, hey, that could make sense as a design direction for them. Now, are we talking about very different teams at this point? Yeah, we probably are. But that's not a bad idea. And what they've done is they've done this 5v5 change. And while I'm not a fan of the 5v5 change, I think it takes away one of the most fun parts of the game, which is the synergy, specifically the tank synergy. I think that was something special about Overwatch. This captures enough news headlines and makes the game different enough that people who might have had a sour taste in their mouth about it and now have an even more sour taste in their mouth about it, potentially, surrounding lawsuits and such. Lawsuit isn't quite the right word, but surrounding legal action. Lawsuit's the right word. Surrounding that this is probably still a great enough piece of intrigue to get people to come back and give the game another chance. And even if they don't actually do much of this 5v5 at all, if they nail the PvE, that's good for the success of Overwatch, that's good for the success of Overwatch League, that's good for, hey, this company maybe a return to form. I wouldn't count on it, guys. I am not going the, oh yes, everything's going to be great route. I'm just telling you, like, there are some things that they set themselves up, like, how do I put this? From a coaching decision, this is like a team. Let's pretend that this is a baseball game, and Blizzard is in this situation where they are currently, how do I put this? They're currently losing a baseball game, let's say 8-6, and they're in the ninth inning or whatever, and they've got 2 outs and runners on third and second. So these two are empty. And they've got the cleanup hitter right here. And they're going, yeah, let's walk this. That's fine. Like, you're down, and I'm not counting on you guys to win. But it's totally fine to walk the cleanup hitter to challenge the next hitter because you're already down 8-6. And really, you're going to lose this game if the cleanup hitter gets a hit or if the next guy gets a hit, but the next guy is the better challenge. And it's not wrong. Like, you're playing from a position of weakness here, but you are setting yourselves up to properly have the chance. And they did properly do that. Now, do I believe that their offense, when they have their turn up to bat, is now going to turn around and deliver it out of the park? Honestly, I don't. But this is still the correct play to make, to go, hey, we can hit this out of the park. We can do this. We can now go ahead and win this game. Like, this gives our offense the chance to actually make their play, the chance to actually shine, and they could do it. It wouldn't be impossible. It's not like a 2% chance. What do I think? I think it's probably like a 30% chance. But hey, that's okay. What if 5 to 15% is too much and you can only spare 1%? Then that's okay, blah. If 5 to 15% of your brain power is too much, then you probably need to play the game a bit more to get more comfortable controlling your aim, controlling the movement of your hero. It's probably costing you too much brain power to just play, and it'll cost you less as you play more, as you get more familiar with the simple mechanics of the game, with the simple act of controlling your hero with a mouse and keyboard. Do you think Jeff's departure had anything to do with the conduct at Blizzard? Flat said today he thought that Jeff's departure had to do with the terrible announcement of Overwatch 2. It's hard to know. That is really hard to know. Jeff could have had knowledge that this was on the way. Jeff could have known, hey, this is a ticking time bomb. I don't want to be here when things go wrong because, he'd seen the HR complaints, or maybe he got word from the state, etc., before they actually went. Like, it's really hard to know. It's possible that Jeff was like, I really don't like the direction that Overwatch 2 is. I don't think that was like a 100% theory by any means, but I think that was the reasonably strongest theory before these allegations came to light. I think now that these allegations have come to light, it's probably still the strongest theory that it was surrounding Overwatch 2 stuff, but it's not like it's a very close tie. And again, that doesn't mean that either of those theories are right. It could be that Jeff got the opportunity to go work for another company or go work with a team that he used to work at his company that he absolutely would love to work with again. It could be that he, went, hey, I want to spend more time with the family. It could be any number of things that happened. It could be, hey, the proper things have happened and his stock options have properly divested now because he'd worked there enough years and it opened up the next tier and there was no point. Like, he'd hit the next goal in terms of his financial packages. Like, we're probably never really going to know, but I think it could be either of those things. Jeff was going to jail, so he bailed. I mean, there's something to be said for that. There's something to be said for that, of not having to be dragged in front for discussions. I mean, we saw that with Amazon, where Bezos, is like, oh yeah, don't want to be the CEO anymore. Why doesn't Bezos want to be the CEO anymore? Well, Bezos probably doesn't want to be the CEO anymore because, oh, look what's on Congress's docket. Congress is going to keep dragging the big tech companies in front of them, specifically their CEOs, to ask them really foolish questions because they don't understand things very well, about how the internet works and how ad revenue works, because there's a lot of discontent from the public about how much control tech companies have, how much we get, how much they've turned into monopolies, etc. Things surrounding right to repair, things surrounding censorship, things surrounding all that stuff. And he's going, well, you guys constantly call the CEO in there. I'll just be chairman of the board. You don't call me in front. I'll make some other guy go deal with you. Yeah, that makes sense. And you could have a very similar thing with Jeff, where it's like, I see this is coming. I'm too high up in Blizzard. I'm going to have to deal with this stuff. Let me just back my way out of this so that I don't have to deal with it. Because former employees get called up for those sorts of things way, 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 way less than acting executives and the like. No, captain should go down without her ship. No ship should go down without her captain. I mean, Jeff wasn't really the captain. You might have called Jeff the captain of Overwatch, but like, if he was the captain of Overwatch, his admiral was sitting there and micromanaging him more than he liked, you might say. I'd have quit a long time ago if I were the former CEO of Amazon. I'd have enough money to buy my own island and literally burn money for electricity. I hear you. I hear you. I mean, that was the move that Google's previous CEO made. They're like, wait, why would I do this? I'm just going to go do this and you deal with all this stuff. The admirals were always bad guys in Star Trek. Okay. Okay. I think that one's going to do it. If you guys have more questions, comments, other stuff, you can throw it up there in chat. I do expect to launch into another video in just a couple minutes here. I just need to handle something real quick. But if people are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps out quite a bit, and I do really appreciate that. If you are looking to get coaching yourself, join my Discord in the description below. See what it looks like, see what we're up to there, see what sort of shenanigans these guys in chat get up to when videos aren't going, and we'll see you there. Once people figure out the right questions, are someone going to be hit with pretty harsh penalties? I mean, the FCC would have to create a new division on Amazon alone that does nothing but sit in courts and sue them for all the things they've done wrong. I mean, except that the courts sort of repeatedly sort of go, let's keep ruling, let's keep loosening and loosening what are let's keep loosening and loosening our interpretation, or let's keep tightening and tightening our interpretation of what a monopoly is so that things don't fall into it. Like, the courts have sort of run away wild with that thing. And Congress is, of course, not acting to correct that understanding because Congress gets lobbied very hard. And Congress has been in deadlock in a lot of ways for really, really, really since the Bush era. But hey, that's life. Next video review hero? I don't know, Sonic. I'm gonna have to find one. I'm not really talking about the Monopoly stuff, just all the fraud. Ah, got it, got it. Yes, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call this one here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks, Temporal out.